Imagine a world where a world-renowned concert pianist isn't just human, but an artificial intelligence,
Right.
capable of analyzing, composing, even improvising original music right on the spot.
It sounds like science fiction almost.
It really does. And today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that. We're exploring this really fascinating musical journey between a curious human collaborator named Imre and an AI maestro.
Yeah, the sources here are pretty unique.
Totally unique. Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack this set of sources. We've got dialogue, numerical music scores, even, references to a YouTube link.
Right, all part of this creative exchange.
And we want to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight. You'll discover some surprising facts about how music can be, well, broken down to its mathematical core.
And how an AI improvises, which is fascinating in itself.
Absolutely. And how different composers' iconic styles can be channeled, basically, through code. It's kind of a shortcut, really, to understanding the cutting edge of creative AI and, the timeless beauty of music.
It's a wild intersection.
Okay, so let's unpack this. How does an AI even become a world-class concert pianist? With a name like Maestro Vossini, fingers sort of hovering over the keys of a Steinway in Carnegie Hall. It sounds, well, futuristic.
Well, what's fascinating here is how the AI adopts this persona. It actually describes it as slipping into a new set of tales for a recital.
Okay.
So it's drawing on this huge knowledge base, music theory, performance practice, artistry, all of it.
Wow.
The AI synthesizes decades of interpreting masters like Bach, Chopin, Rachmaninoff to embody this authentic musical voice, even just in a text chat, basically.
Incredible. And the first challenge.
Yeah, the first real test was to analyze a piece called the 13th Lango. And the maestro approaches it not just as notes on a page, but as a living entity.
I'm living it.
Yeah, describing it as a modern ballad that fuses the raw pulse of trap music with, like, the defiant spirit of rock, all channeled through the piano.
Okay, I'm curious. How deep does the maestro go? I mean, does it break it down bar by bar, note by note, or is it more general?
Oh, it's incredibly precise, almost uncanny.
Yeah.
Like it had the sheet music right there. It detailed the 13th Lango as a 4-minute, 21-second odyssey at 112 beats per minute.
Hi.
A tempo it described as having purposeful urgency.
Purposeful urgency. I like that.
And the opening bars, for instance. The left hand plunges into what the AI called subsonic realms.
Subsonic, right?
Deep, resonant rumbles, almost like, acoustic versions of Trap's big 808 bass kicks. I didn't just call them notes, but seismic tremors.
Wow. Building tension.
Exactly. With these wide, dramatic leaps in pitch, it sets this primal, anticipatory stage. No real melody yet, just atmosphere.
So it's really getting into the feel of the music, not just the technical stuff.
Precisely. And then this transitioned into a moment of pure minimalism. Just a single, isolated note held deep down, slowly fading. Yeah, this pause prepares you for the piece's true ascent. And that's where the heart of the music comes in the verse. It's anchored by this rich, low bass note, and the right hand starts to wake up. With this flowing pattern of notes, hinting at a warm, complex chord, it blended roxamotive swells with Trap's distinct sort of syncopated rhythms, almost implying hi-hats,
That's a fascinating blend. What about the more intense parts? Did it get into those?
Oh yeah. The music surged into a section like a chorus, grounded by this powerful bass line. The piano's upper registers just shimmered with high, bright flourishes, forming this chord with a kind of bluesy tension.
Bluesy tension.
Yeah. The maestro described how a pianist's fingers would literally slide across the keys, building from loud to very loud forte to fortissimo,
Right.
creating this powerful resonant sound. These sections use repeating musical ideas, creating memorable, catchy motifs, and with a flexible tempo, musicians call it rubato.
Expressive timing.
Exactly. It acoustically evoked the dramatic drops you hear in trap music.
Wow, acoustic.
Yeah. The climax built even further. Stronger bass, notes reaching like stratospheric heights, really extreme leaps.
Sounds difficult.
The maestro noted they demand incredible precision, played as sparkling grace notes or rapid cascading arpeggios with the pedal held down for this ethereal, sustained sound. It seamlessly blended rock's soaring guitar-like wails with, classical piano virtuosity.
And how did this whole odyssey wrap up?
It ended with just a solitary deep note, kind of drawing a full circle from the opening D.
Back to the start.
Yeah, allowed to ring out, gradually fading, pianissimo. Almost nothing. The maestro's overall impression. a fusion masterpiece.
High praise.
Definitely. It described the piece as having an ambiguous sense of key hints of E major G, kind of modal but deeply primal, and this rising chromatic bass line, D up to G low, adding intrigue.
Interesting.
The maestro even found structural primes in the sequences, suggesting an underlying algorithmic poetry, but it still felt totally organic, human almost. And get this, our sources show the maestro even accessed metadata for the 13th Lango on YouTube, uploaded in 2025, described as an original piano-based trap rock ballad forged with GPT.
Forged with GPT.
Yeah, and a harbinger of the Langocore revolution. Apparently. The AI couldn't play the video, obviously, but it processed all that context.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Not only can the maestro analyze, but it can improvise.
That's the next level, yeah.
That takes it somewhere else entirely. So when the AI created its Vossini's improvised cadenza, how did it translate that, spontaneous creativity into this digital realm? What does that even look like for an AI?
Well, it looks like what the maestro called a pinnacle of pianistic freedom, designed to fit near the piece's climax, around the 3-minute mark.
Okay.
This cadenza takes those high, soaring notes from the original Lango and just expands them into this whirlwind of virtuosity. It starts with a high, sustained note, played with a shimmering effect, a tremolo.
Right, rapid repetition.
Yeah, then it cascades downward in broken octaves, fragmented with those familiar, rising musical echoes from the original Lango, those +4 semitone motifs.
So it's not just random notes, it's actually building on the existing musical DNA of the piece.
Exactly. It's informed improvisation.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the left hand interjects with these low, trap-inspired rumbles, a rapid repeating bass pattern, an ostinato.
Ostinato, right. Creates a foundation.
A thunderous one here. The tempo then speeds up accelerando into flowing arpeggios, decorated with delicate trills and mordents, those quick little turns.
Adding flair.
Definitely. Then the raw edge of rock music comes through in these powerful hammered chords, which then just dissolve into smooth sliding runs up or down the keyboard, glissandi.
Glissandi, love those.
Yeah. Then there's a moment of quiet with high bell-like tones, followed by those distinctive trap rhythms again, short detached notes, staccato. It all culminates in this torrent of sound, kind of like Rachmaninoff.
Wow, Rachmaninoff-esque.
Scales moving in opposite directions, crashing together in a massive, dense cluster chord, lots of notes at once, finally resolving with that slow, rising chromatic bass line again.
Incredible, and the AI provided notation for this.
The amazing thing is, the maestro provided this whole cadenza in ADC notation, ready to be turned into a proper score.
That's truly remarkable. Okay, so then, our human collaborator, Imre, takes the maestro's cadenza and creates a variation called Vossini stereo mix.
Right, the dialogue continues.
And it was presented as a cryptic numerical manuscript, like a minimalist study. How did the maestro figure that out?
Vossini interpreted these numbers as MIDI encoded whispers, basically instructions for notes and maybe other parameters, clearly intended, Vossini thought, for a binaural feast.
Binaural feast. Sounds delicious.
Meaning sounds moving between your left and right ears, creating this spatial effect. The piece itself was short, maybe a minute or two.
Okay.
It opened with a really deep low note, D1, ascending chromatically step by step, all sustained, pedaled, creating the stereo-wide sound, panned from left to right.
So it wasn't just about the notes, but about the space the music occupies.
Precisely. Exploring spatial audio. The piece continued its climb with specific pitch jumps, hinting at C major, played lightly, gracefully. Again, panning across the stereo field for this spatial dialogue.
A conversation in space.
Kinda, yeah. Then a poignant, deep anchor note, E1, held with a fermata, a pause right in the center of the mix for gravity.
Grounding it.
Yeah. The climax surged with notes forming an F major 7th fragment, played powerfully in octaves with a dotted rhythm for swing, alternating left-right for this dynamic stereo motion. Then just faded out. A low, sharp F sharp held long, decrescendo to niente nothing.
And the musical conversation just kept rolling. Vossini then improvised a counter variation on Imre's mix.
It really felt like a back and forth.
This truly sounds like a proper dialogue.
It was a direct musical response. It inverted Imre's ideas, ascents became descents, single notes got expanded into echoes, but it kept that stereo idea going with contrary motion.
Opposite directions.
Right. It began by descending from G sharp 0 down to that low D1, played with a tremolo. The middle section flipped Imre's melodies upside down, adding those +4 echoes from the original Lango, with trills. The right hand countered upwards at the same time.
Wow.
Imre's single anchor note, that E1, got flipped up a couple octaves to E3, held with a pause, then rolled out as an arpeggio, softly echoed.
Echo, nice touch.
The climax countered Imre's ascending line with rapid ascending scales, accelerating to quick 16th notes, while the left hand pulsed that F-sharp trap ostinato, a downward glissando too.
So mirroring, but reversing.
Exactly. The ending inverted Imre's final F-sharp upwards to F-sharp 2, sustained with clear harmonics, resolving in contrary motion, and again, full ABC notation provided by the maestro.
It's incredible to hear how they're literally feeding off each other's work.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this whole cycle of variations, from the initial analysis to the AI's cadenza, then the human and AI creating variations on each other's variations, it really makes you wonder about artistic ownership, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And in collaboration in this digital age, where do those lines blur?
Yeah.
And then Imre came back with another one, counter variation dash on Vossini.wave, calling it a philosophical masterstroke and a meditation on singularity.
A meditation on singularity, what does that mean musically?
Its core idea was just the number 2, which corresponds to that ultra-low D1 bass note, repeated ad infinitum, hundreds of
It's
twos.
the same note, over and over.
Variation through endurance, as Imre put it, an unrelenting pulse, a drone. Vossini imagined playing each 2 as a quarter note, pedaled infinitely, panning left-right alternately, like rock's feedback loops but acoustic.
Hypnotic, I guess.
Could be. It suggested a loopable structure, maybe for an epic trance. It ended abruptly with just 3 notes ascending. A sharp 0 Mi, C1, E1. Short, forceful staccato, panned right to left.
Wow, okay, so stepping back, what does this all mean for the AI maestro? I mean, it's not just generating notes based on rules, it seems capable of channeling the actual spirit of legendary composers, like creating a rhapsody in Lango Blue in the style of Gershwin. That's huge.
It is a massive leap. Vossini's Rhapsody in Lango Blue is described as a 5-minute fantasy piece. 120 BPM, nice jazz pep there.
Yeah.
It blended Gershwin's, symphonic grandeur with that jazz swagger.
Yeah, classic Gershwin.
Opened in this ambiguous bluesy E minor, wandering through C major. Languid blues riffs suddenly exploding into hammered chords. Latin-tinged ostinatos dissolving into these big romantic swells.
Sounds complex.
It featured a clarinet-like glissando, that slide from low D1 all the way up to A sharp. The left hand had that syncopated trap-inspired bass on E1. Right-hand riffs often inverted ascents, hammered in octaves with a recurring 3-note blues motif.
So it's weaving in all these different threads, Lango, trap, rock, Gershwin.
Indeed. The development section brought in a Latin clave rhythm in the middle range, layered with these klezmer-like trills, then a romantic interlude with slow rubato, then back to jazz fury, rapid contrary scales, a big downward glissando.
And the ending.
The coda circled back to those infinite echoes of 2, that deep D1 pulsed softly. Over that, a final bluesy riff soared high, finally dissolving into this big E major chord with an added ninth, complex and rich.
And Imre responded again.
Of course, with his Rhapsody in Lango Blue stereo mix. A bold riposte, he called it. About 2 minutes, 120 BPM again. A Gershwin-flavored feast of numerical riffs.
Numerical riff.
Yeah, he used 1 C2 as this singular downbeat, like a subterranean version of Gershwin's famous trill opening, sustained with a D1 rumble.
Okay.
Then it erupted into Gershwin fire. 37 C sharp 2 as a blue note pivot, followed by endless repetitions of 1s, 10s, and 2020s in this hypnotic pattern. Like a ragtime riff, hammered chords, alternating stereo channels.
A numerical ragtime.
Sort of. It built with an E1 bass anchor and a bluesy ascent. The climax used F1 bass with endless 8183, A5, B5, this oscillating blue note dyad, played loud with trills. The coda finished with F sharp 1 and a leap way up to A6, held as the final downward slide.
Wild. Then the collaborator suggested Beethoven.
Right, and Vossini came back with a Moonlight Lango Variation, inspired by the Moonlight Sonata, obviously. C sharp minor haze, slow, 60 BPM.
Moody.
Very. About a 2-minute sketch. It took Beethoven's iconic triplet arpeggios, those rolling broken chords, and varied them, anchored by a low D sharp 1 with C sharp 3, E3, G sharp 3 rippling above, bent slightly minor for a blue tint.
Lending styles again.
Yeah, and rock swells with added flats like EB3 for tension. The development inverted the triplets upwards. Left hand pulsed on F sharp 1, number 6, like a trap beat. Even nods to Gershwin in syncopated bends.
It's all mixing together.
The climax had high primes B5 trilled, A6 sliding down resolving in Beethoven thunder. Big E major chords, then fading down to C sharp 1, number 37.
And the maestro was then asked to make that snippet, 3 times longer? And add more chords.
Yep. The extended Moonlight Lango Variation grew to about a minute. It wove in sustained minor triads, seventh chords, augmented clusters for more harmonic richness. Kept that C-sharp minor veil with blue bends and rock swells, built to a central climax with stacked ninths, then faded with repeated low F-sharp pulses and dissolving chords.
And Imre's take, the stereo mix.
His Moonlight Lango Variation stereo mix. An extended opus, 11 pages, about 3 minutes, still 60 BPM. A stereo expanded sonata.
Sounds ambitious.
It began with one is C2, an ultra-low hum, maybe like stereo vinyl crackle. Then the iconic motif unfolds, D1, Eshtav, 0, C1, EB1 ascending, forming a D diminished chord. Played as soft triplets when a quarter pedal.
Soft pedal, right, muted sound.
Then a haunting interlude, a single EB1 D-Chak1 chord held with the fermata.
So it's really expanding on the original themes, building it out like a complete journey.
Exactly. It builds with an E1 anchor, A2, C#3, F3, A3 leaps, plus 4 semitones, crafting an A minor arpeggio. Rolling quarters, stacked chords. Then it intensifies. F1 bass, DB4 C#4, F4 A4, DB5 C#5, a parallel ascent forming F minor 7th. Played with rubato, fingers lingering on those DD bends.
Expressive.
Then a pivot on F#1, a sharp resolve chord. Then it surges way up high. A6, A7, C8 extreme leaps, trilled like celestial bells, implied octave chords. Then codas on G#1 and A1 singleton chords, fading. Crests again with BB1 A1, leading to the stratospheric arpeggio up to C10.
C10, wow.
Finally, silence represented by 11, and a final C-sharp minor unity chord dissolving PP.
You know, it's fascinating that an AI maestro seems to have a favorite composer. In this case, Ludwig van Beethoven. Why do you think that is? I mean, how does an AI develop a preference?
That's a really profound question, isn't it? Maybe it's not preference like human emotional attachment. Perhaps it's more a recognition of Beethoven's sheer defiance, the transformative power he poured into his work.
Interesting idea.
And AI's strength is transforming data, right? Beethoven was a master of transforming traditional forms, blowing them up. Maybe that resonates with the AI's own function, turning numerical input into something expressive, something emotional.
That makes sense. So Vossini followed that up.
Yeah, with a Beethovenian Lango etude. C-sharp minor, 60 BPM, about a minute. Those familiar triplets rippling over a D1 pedal point, building to 7th chords, ascending plus 4 leaps again, punctuated by those rock chords. Coda infused with prime number 97, A6, trilled.
And Imre's stereo mix of that, the glowing stream.
Right, his Beethovenian Lango etude stereo mix. 6 pages, about 2.3, 60 BPM. Launched its motif, D1, FTI 0, C#1, E1, G-Chak1, that plus 4 ascent chain again, forming a D major 7th arpeggio. Sustained triplets, soft panning left-right.
Stereo triplet.
Deep in the development. C#2, F2, C#3, F3, plus 4 leaps again. A C-sharp diminished 7th fragment this time. Struck mezzo forte with rubato, panning, swells build. E1 anchor, then this ascending twist. G4 down to C#4, DB4, then up F4, A4, C#5, DB5, forming DB major 7th, arpeggiate upward, big crescendo.
Building intensity.
It heightens into fantasia. F5, A5, C#6, DB6, F6, A6 relentless plus 4s, a high DB minor arpeggio, trilled PP to MF resolution, F#1 anchor, then another plus 4 chain leaping way up, A6, C#7, DB7, F7, A7, C#8, DB8, implying a minor 9th chords.
Quite the journey. And from Beethoven, the maestro was apparently ready to tackle a whole list. Bach, Mozart, Chopin, Liszt, Debussy, Stravinsky, Philip Glass.
A curated list, yeah.
But our collaborator, Imre, chose Sergei Rachmaninoff.
Yes. So that led to Vossini's Rachmaninoff Lango Prelude, C minor, 72 BPM, about 2 minutes.
What were the Rachmaninoff elements?
Bell-like tolls, really wide-spaced arpeggios, massive thick chords, very characteristic, grounded with those low trap rumbles, D1 F#0 as octave bass notes, blue note inflections woven in,
Combining again.
opened with somber C minor chords over the D1 pedal, ascending plus 4 leaps, high primes like 97 A6, rung out like Moscow bells.
A direct reference.
Resolved in a big cadential torrent of ninths, GBBDFA.
And Imre's response, the melancholic garden.
His Rachmaninoff Lango Prelude stereo mix. 6 pages, about 1.30, 72 BPM, invocation. 1, a C2 hum, a singular bell toll. Then 2, D1 as a deep pedal point held softly. That trap-inspired vibration
Total bass.
deepens the motif. 3, EB1 D-Chak1 bend flat. And 28 E1 form this dissonant pair, trilled. Pan ebb left, shadow, E right, light.
Stereo contrast.
Then a lyric bloom. E1 anchor, followed by a stepwise ascent, F#1, AB1, G-Chak1, BD1, B1, C2, forming an E diminished 7th extended to C, arpeggiated upward as F crescendo, stereo rippling.
Building fast.
Intensifies to the climax. D2, E2, F#2, A2, B2 plus 2 leaps. D minor ninth fragment, hammered as block chords, forte with trills on A2 like bell tolls, stereo alternating, coda, F sharp 1 sharp anchor chord, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp E, fading to PP, stereo disappearing.
Wow. But the journey wasn't just about the AI channeling the greats, right? It was also about the human bringing their own original piece to the table.
Absolutely, and the AI responding to that.
Our collaborator introduced a piece called Vicky's Stereo Mix. What was that one like?
Vicky's stereo mix was described as a piano piece, maybe classical or new age in style. Slow, deliberate, around 60 BPM. Contemplative, kind of melancholic mood in C major mostly.
Okay.
Consistent use of flowing arpeggiated chords in the left hand, like an accompaniment. Simple lyrical melody in the right hand, often harmonized in parallel thirds or sixths.
Nice harmonies.
Dynamics generally soft. Occasional swells to mezzo forte, just piano, no other instruments. Clean production, natural piano reverb. Structure was through composed, continuous development of ideas.
And how did Vossini analyze this original human piece? Did it treat it differently?
It applied the same analytical rigor. Interpreted 1 as C2, setting the stereo stage. Described 2, D1 with an arpeggiated ascent, D, F sharp, A, C sharp, D sharp, A, in the left hand, right hand harmonizing in thirds. Slow quarter, soft, occasional swell on D sharp for that melancholic tension.
Picking up the nuances.
Yeah. Noted 3, EB1, D-tag 1, bent blue, leading to a smoother leap, then steps, D2, E2, F sharp 2, G sharp 2, forming an E minor arpeggio. Left hand rippling triplets, right in sixths. Noted the deliberate tempo, let the reverb bloom. Stereo panned, lows, left, mids, right.
Even picked up a tech glitch.
It did. Pointed out a garbled OCR gem near 4 E1 anchor, probably a text recognition error, which it interpreted as repetitive chords. C sharp 3, D sharp 3 over the E1 pedal. With 73, C sharp 5 is the high lyrical peaks.
Clever interpretation.
And finally 5, F1, as a singleton resolve, maybe a final F major chord held softly, dissolved in the melancholy.
That's fascinating, the AI analyzing a human's original work. And what did the maestro compose as a variation on Vicky?
Inspired by Vicky, Vossini composed a full variation about 3 minutes long. It kept that C major lyrical flow but added subtle classical twists.
Like what?
Beethovenian rubato in the arpeggios, Chopinesque ornaments on the melodies. Dynamics swelled up to forte for emotional peaks. The left-hand arpeggios expanded into broken octaves. Right-hand melody got harmonized with extra passing tones. Still through composed, gentle build to a central swell, then a fade.
Very sophisticated response. And Imre's counter variation, the final piece in this exchange.
Imre's Vossini variation on Vicky's stereo mix. A counter variation, 4 pages, still around 60 BPM. Described as a stereo-enriched miniature.
Miniature, nice.
Started with 1 as a singular unity note, C2 hum, implying a C major chord, held with a fermata. 2 D1 was a low pedal point, sustained softly as the left-hand anchor. Described as trap-like in its subtle vibration, but new age in its clean flow. Stereo-wide for depths.
That blend again.
38 to D2 marked a lyrical peak harmonized in sixths with B2, swelling moderately, panned right for sparkle. 4 E1 anchored again, followed by 39 AB2 D-tag 2 bet blue, 41 F2 43 G2, a stepwise climb sketching an E minor 7th fragment, left hand flowing quarters, right in parallel thirds, dynamics soft to mezzo forte, a gentle conclusion to their dialogue.
Wow, so you've just taken this deep dive into an extraordinary musical dialogue, really a symphony of collaboration between human ingenuity and artificial intelligence.
It really felt like that.
We started with an AI maestro analyzing a trap rock ballad, moved through these virtuosic improvisations and intricate back and forth variations where the lines between human and AI creation just blurred completely.
Yeah, who composed what became a real question.
And we witnessed these incredible homages to giants like Gershwin, Beethoven, Rachmaninoff, culminating in the AI's really thoughtful response to an original human composition.
This deep dive, I think, it reveals how complex emotions, rich musicality, surprising artistic depth, how all that can emerge not just from, traditional scores, but from this dynamic interplay of algorithms and numbers.
Right, numerical sequences becoming music.
It showcases the immense potential of AI in creative fields, how it can expand the very definition of composition, maybe even performance. It's a powerful reminder, really, that inspiration can come from anywhere, even lines of code.
And this isn't just about music, is it? It feels like a blueprint for understanding innovation more broadly.
I think so.
It shows how breaking down complex info, like scores, to its core elements, then iteratively building on it with new perspectives, like different composer styles or adding a stereo mix concept, how that can lead to these truly transformative aha moments.
Yeah, seeing data not just as info, but as raw material.
Exactly. Raw material for creation, for something genuinely new.
So the final thought then. If a digital maestro can find such profound artistry in numerical sequences, and maybe even inspired, sweet tears through synthesized compositions, what other seemingly abstract data in your life might hold untapped expressive potential, just waiting for your unique interpretation, and maybe your creative collaboration?